So, let me tell you the story. Story about my WBV, way back Valentine. For those of you that don't know me, I moved here in Arkansas in, well, it was July 3rd, 1986. We arrived at our new home at 9:04 p.m. out in the sticks. I went from inner city Tampa to out in the woods in a matter of 20 hours. It's a total culture shock. Next day, two girls on horseback came up, introduced themselves as Penny and Annalie, and I knew right there that the rest of my life was going to be a new adventure. But it just doesn't begin there. I'm going to jump forward a couple years. Mom and I decided to start going back to church. So the church that we was used to had a congregation of 1,300, and now I'm at a church that has a congregation of 200, 300. So things were different. But this is where the story really begins. In January 1987, I think is our second or third trip there to church, I seen this girl standing on stage next to a preacher, bawling her eyes out. Sunday just prior, she had lost her house to a house fire. But I was sitting there with my jaw wide open, just drooling as a young 14-year-old. She's beautiful. Most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It was sad. I understood that, she had lost her house. Her parents were living in one place, and her and her brother were living with a congregation in two other places. But I didn't even pay attention to what was going on or what they were really talking about. Mom said I looked like the cat from Tom and Jerry with my mouth wide open, just, that's okay. I joined the church choir immediately. I knew it was for the wrong reasons, but I wanted to get close to her. And believe it or not, growing up, I had a set of pipes. I could really sing back in high school. One of the best in my choir, actually. But this woman didn't give me the time of day. I know I was childish, immature. Still am today. That's why I stay so young. It's just part of who I am. But I knew that I'd end up with her someday. And it gets interesting because she actually, hated my guts for a very long time. Case in point, one of the biggest butt chewings I took was when she finally talked to me, and I deserved it. Me and another kid by the name of Brad the whole church was at Branson for the Christian weekend where they opened up the park just to churches and whatnot. Brad and I were chasing some girls, and we got in trouble, and we wasn't supposed where we were supposed to be at a certain time. And so our youth director, who wasn't of good health at the time, and he was trying to chase us down. He got winded. Mary gave us one huge butt chewing. I still didn't care. I was wanted to chase her. She still hated my guts. But I didn't give up. I knew she was the one for me. A few months later, we had a spaghetti dinner at church. I finally convinced her to give me a chance and to go out with me. She said yes. again, my jaw dropped like Tom and Jerry, because she actually said yes. A girl said yes. Most girls, I was immature. I know. But hold on, folks, because now it really gets crazy. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, I asked her to marry me, because I knew she was the one for me. She laughed me off. She didn't think I was serious. But as time went by, for those next couple of months, she knew how serious I really was. And I told her I wanted to be with her forever. So we set a wedding date. Church kicked us out. School pushed us out, because that's what happens when you're in a small community. Church people teach at schools. They said we couldn't do it. They said we would never make it. We proved them wrong. This next week it'll be 25 years. So we went to go get our marriage license, and the woman that was going to sell us our marriage license, and we went the first time just to inquire. She said that me being 15, her being 17, that everything was legal. And then we came back the next week when I got my paycheck, and the actual city clerk, oh my gosh, oh, she threw a conniption fit. Said that it was all wrong. I had to be 17, Mary could be 15, but if she was pregnant, well, it is a mess. The city clerk went down and tried to get the judge to press charges against Mary for rape. Had to explain to her how it wasn't rape. You know, you get the point. So we waited a few more months until my 16th birthday. I was then legal. And we bought our license, and of course, you know, the clerk was still just so disgusted. There's nothing she could do now. So we set our date. Valentine's Day. February 14th, 1990. Wedding day. If it could go wrong that day, it went wrong. The day just had disaster written all over it. I went to pick up our wedding cake, and if anybody lives on dirt road, which 90% of people in this area have gone down a dirt road at some point in their life, they know how bad their car just shakes because it's going down the road. Well, the icing on the cake went and shitted off the side of the cake. I was just heartbroken because I wanted that day to be so perfect. I delivered the cake to the house, gave it to Mom. She was assuring me she could fix it. I'm like, no, you can't. And I just broke down. Everything was fixing to go wrong. Mary nuked the Swedish meatballs instead of thawing them. The curtains on the balloons on the curtains were hung upside down. Her parents and family arrived way too early, yet at the same time on their way to the house for the wedding, they were ran off the road by a semi coming down Highway 71. This is before 49 was built. And then the inevitable. We were supposed to get married at 7 o'clock. 7:30, no preacher. My best man wasn't there. My best man was the preacher's son. And 8 o'clock, no preacher. 8:30, no preacher. 9 o'clock, hey, we got a preacher. All right. Yeah, he was at church because February 14th was on a Wednesday, and he was at church giving his sermon, and he told his congregation, that on February 14th he was going to be marrying me, and he forgot it was that day, so somebody in his congregation, deacon or whoever, said, "Preacher, that's today." So off to the races. They had to drive 20 miles back to the house, and we got married. And of course, during all this, there was a huge storm. So after we were finally married, we left the house. Well, we had to take Mary's bridesmaid home. It's now midnight, 1 o'clock, and we get stuck in the bridesmaid's yard because, it was a monsoon. You just couldn't drive anywhere because there's just so much water. So we're stuck. Her dad has to get up out of bed, get the tractor, hook up to me, pull me out. Now I'm covered in mud and soaking wet. And finally, we get to our hotel room, and it's now 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. We just passed out. We was just ready for that day to be over. So finally, we're married. It was a rough few months at first, as any marriage would be. You've got two people who, and I suppose this happens in every relationship. You come from different backgrounds, different cultures, settings, and you have to learn how to merge together. So it was rough at first. So we didn't know at the time when we got married that Mary was pregnant. But on October 24th, 1990, Mary gave birth to my first daughter. Karen Irene Lee Hernandez. Beautiful baby girl. I was ecstatic. Still am today. I always wanted kids. I wanted lots of kids. And I was 17, Mary was 19. So newly married, new baby. Life is still rough around the edges. We're making it, and we were surviving the best we knew how. October 1st, 1992, Mary gave birth to my second daughter, Sierra Chantel. And those that you don't know, for those of you that don't know, Karen was born on her due date. Sierra was also due on the same due date, but came 3 weeks early. And then there was Kaya Josephine Marie. Now, Kaya was a surprise. Well, they were all surprises. We was actually trying for a boy, finally gave up. And I said, "Okay, honey, in 8 years, we'll have the girls out of the house, and we can do whatever that, adults do when the kids are gone. Run around in my underwear, I don't know. Just kidding." Mary comes to me one day and she says, "Honey," this is like a couple weeks later anyway, and she's like, "Honey, in 18 years, we'll kick out the last kid." Woohoo! I was ready. Because you see, we were trying really hard for a boy. My family tree, or my name, stops with me. I'm the last. And then, of course, with Kaya, she was due right in between both the girls. She was due on October the 12th. She came 3 weeks early on September 28th, 2001. One day I just added it all up, went back 9 months, and I said, it's my birthday. So anyway, today I have 3 beautiful daughters, 3 beautiful granddaughters, another granddaughter on the way, another friend of the family that I've always considered to be a daughter, and her daughter to be a granddaughter. Lord help me, I've got 10 women that I'm always surrounded by, and no boys. KJ's still at home. The other 2 girls are gone, married. And with the, how do you say it? I just wouldn't have had it any other way. The smooth paths, the rocky roads. It all brings us here to today. I've been nice up till now, and I haven't used Mary's full name. But you're next. One week from today will be Valentine's Day 2015. So Mary Rose Murray on Saturday at noon. Will you marry me again? To be my wedded wife. To have and to hold from this day forward. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. To love and to cherish, till death do us part. According to God's holy ordinance. And thereto I pledge myself to you, for as long as we both shall live.